Hello Kipsters, and welcome to the second lesson for this week. Today we are going to learn about the brass family. Yesterday we learned about the woodwind instruments. We learned clarinet, flute, saxophone, oboe, and bassoon. Today we're going to learn about 4 brass instruments. Although there are more than 4, we are only going to learn 4 today. And I did forget to mention this in the first video, but if you go ahead and click the attachment I have for the brass family instruments, you can get a visual of these instruments as I talk about them. The first instrument we are going to introduce today is the trumpet. I'll spell trumpet for you. T-R-U-M-P-E-T. And trumpet is probably the most popular instrument anywhere. It is the most recognizable sound, I would say, outside of saxophone for sound overall, but definitely of the brass instruments, it is the most popular. And I'm going to play a little bit of a trumpet solo for you. This is called Flight of the Bumblebee. So imagine a little bumblebee flying around to this sound. That is the trumpet. And you can tell the trumpet based on how high it sounds. It isn't obviously as high as a flute, but of the brass instruments, it does have a very sharp sound and a very regal sound. It is, I would say, most popular brass instrument. Our next instrument is Mr. Isaac's favorite brass instrument. Now, yesterday I mentioned that I played clarinet, so that is my favorite woodwind instrument. But this is my favorite brass instrument and favorite instrument overall. So even more than the clarinet, I really love this instrument. And it is called the French horn. Now, if you're looking at that PDF I tagged or that JPEG that I put in as the attachment, you can see that the French horn is a circular instrument, and it has all the pipes wound up really tightly to make a little cone type instrument. And it is a very beautiful and warm sound, and I will play a little bit of it for you here. Now, one thing about brass instruments is they do kind of sound similar, especially if you don't have a trained ear. It is hard to tell the difference sometimes. So for now, we're just going to say that the trumpet is a very high instrument in the brass family, and the French horn is a very medium, warm instrument. It's very full sound. The next instrument we are going to hear and learn about is the trombone. Now, the trombone is different in that there are no buttons to play on the trombone. In fact, it may be one of the only instruments that doesn't have buttons. In fact, it has a slide. So if you've ever seen someone playing an instrument that looks, and they have to play it like this, that is called a trombone. Say trombone. I'm going to play a little bit of trombone for you. And how we remember trombone, it is a lower of the 3 instruments. It's not the lowest, but it does have a lower sound than both the trumpet and the French horn. So again, it might be hard to tell the difference between a French horn and a trombone, but it did indeed have a lower sound. And if you were watching the video, you saw that he was playing like this instead of playing with buttons, which is what most brass instruments play. The final instrument we're going to talk about, I'm not gonna play a sound for you, but the final one we're going to talk about is the tuba. And this is the biggest brass instrument. Okay. It is very big. Most of the time, gentlemen play the tuba, but there are female tuba players. But it is a very big instrument. It probably weighs about 15 to 20 pounds itself. And it is the lowest instrument of the brass family. So when you hear it, boom, 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 an instrument that's like sounding like that, most likely it is the tuba. Now the trombone can play some of the notes that the tuba can, but the tuba can even go lower than the trombone. So it is the lowest and definitely the biggest instrument of the family. Okay, one thing about brass instruments is they are all pipe instruments, and then they're just twirled up into a form of the instrument itself. If you can see on the picture, you'll see that they all look different, and how much pipe is how high the instrument is. So if there's more pipe, it's a lower instrument. Like the tuba has a lot of piping and bigger, and the trumpet has a couple pipes just wound up a couple times. Sorry about that. And it is the smallest instrument, so it makes a very high sound. And the less pipe you have, obviously, the higher the sound goes. The more you have, the lower it is. That is brass instruments. Again, brass instruments are all made of metal. That's the biggest difference between them and woodwinds, is that the wooden ones are made, they are played with a wooden piece as well, and the brass ones are all played with a metal mouthpiece and a brass instrument. Tomorrow we're going to learn about the string family, and then we are going to continue on with our song We Shall Overcome in the coming days. Thank you guys. Make sure you finish the exit ticket today, and make sure you mark as done after you turn it in, so I can properly get that back to you. And I will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day.